Welcome to another After School Tech Tips with the Tips team. My name's Bernice, and today I'm going to talk to you about 5 tips to using Google Forms for building relationships with your students. My tip number 1 is to create a student survey on Google Forms and to share it through Google Classroom. So as you can see here, I have a Google Form set up. I have certain questions already set up in there for the student to then fill out, and all of this information is going to be kept in my Google Drive. My favorite thing about doing this is that Google Forms and Google Classroom then together can track who did it and who didn't. This is especially useful for all the new students that are coming into the class in the middle of the week, and this way you can make sure every single student has completed it and you never have to worry about that. So to do this, I'm just going to take my student survey, head into my Google Classroom, go and attach it from my drive, and go ahead and put that in there. I can now assign this, and as you can see, I have this all set up so students can click in and I can see how many people have completed it or not. So that brings me to tip number 2. To create a student tidbits form that can keep track of the little things that your students tell you throughout the years. Now, sometimes it can be really difficult to keep track of those little things that students tell you, especially when some of you might be even teaching almost 200 students or more. So we have here a student tidbits form. You can put their name in here. So let's say I have a student called Bernice. I'm going to go put them in there. And, they're in period 6, and I just found out that they like to go skiing all the time. And so they ski on the weekends, whatever it might be. I can submit this. This is a really quick and easy way to make sure all that information is put into a nice Google form and kind of set up there for easy access to go take a look at any point in time you need to. And so that brings me then to tip number 3, which is bookmarking your student details form or your student tidbits form to create that kind of shortcut on your desktop for easy access. So when I go in to submit this response, I can just bookmark it right here by pressing that star button. And so you can see here, if I head into my bookmarks tab, I can now see that I have my student tidbits form right there for easy access. Another thing you can do is you can actually take this, if you go where the lock is and you click on it, you can drag and drop that right onto your desktop. And once it's on your desktop, if you double click on that, that's going to open right up. So it's quick and easy to access anytime you need. That brings me then to tip number 4, which is you can access your form and any of those responses that are in there. Now, you can look at it via your Google Forms summary responses, but I find that the easiest way to do this is via the spreadsheet. So if you click in on this green button here, you can create a spreadsheet of all the responses that you get from any form that you have. If I click here and I press create, I can now open this up and I have a bunch of the responses. The best part is over the year, as this becomes larger and larger, you can actually do things like filtering, which means, for example, I have a bunch of these things here from Bernice. I can go ahead and come in, I can click on this funnel button, and if I click on that, it says create a filter. You're now going to see these triangle lines. I can click on that, and I can choose to only show stuff that I saw from cactus. And so I can press OK, and you can see only the information that you've given for cactus. Again, I can do that again. For another one, I can do that just for Bernice here, and I can now see those responses as well. So filtering responses through a sheet is a really nice way to be able to just, make the sheet into whatever it is you're focusing on. So that specific your student you're looking at, you can find those responses really easily and really quickly. And finally, that brings me to my last tip, tip number 5. Remember that since this is student data, please be careful about who can see these responses. So if you have another teacher coming to ask you to share this with them, just come into your form, click the 3 dots here, and you can see here that you have the option to add collaborators. Now, please note that collaborators can see all of those responses. So if another teacher asks you to share this form, just duplicate it before you add them as a collaborator. Additionally, you can also just press the send button and you can go ahead and send them a link to it so that they can see all those questions there without necessarily seeing all of the responses that you have with it. And so that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us or check out tips.epsb.ca. I hope that helps.